you're mirroring me and your right leg is forward, when you look down at your hands are going clockwise. So this is a simple kind of silk reeling practice, or maybe silk reeling like practice. So your right foot is forward, your left foot is back if you're mirroring me, and you're circling your hands palm down in clockwise circles. And you're shifting your hips a little bit as you do so. As your hands come forward, you're shifting the hips forward. And as your hands come back, you're shifting the hands back. And the hips are a little bit sunk. That is, your knees are a little bit bent, so you're not standing fully upright here. You're in kind of like a bow stance. So you are in a bow stance of sorts. And you're trying to keep your back relatively upright. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you're not trying to lean forward and lean back. And you're letting the rhythm of your breath just be whatever the rhythm of the breath wants to be. You're not trying to bring it into phase with the movements of the body. And it's almost like you're just rubbing your hands over a smooth surface, just kind of feeling it. So this is a silk reeling or silk reeling like practice. But we're going to use it to try to find an entryway into having sensations and experiences that might be considered to be like the sensations of chi or energy. Now, I don't have an angle on that here. I don't have any commitment to believing that you're really experiencing chi, that there's some kind of energy that can be discerned through sensations of the body. That is somehow not metaphorical and somehow literally there, and yet not discerned by the sciences and our friends who are doing empirical work like that. But maybe it's just sensations. Surely they can be explained as the product of various physiological processes. But whatever it is, we're just going to play and sort of see if we can feel them. All kinds of things that we let our imaginations play with. And so in some ways, we're kind of training the imagination here. Begin to stir the hands. I mean, like, imagine your hands are sort of in the liquid of a cauldron that's in front of you, and you're stirring the cauldron up, still shifting the hips as you do things here. And you might begin to turn the palms so that when your hands come forward, you're like wiping the inside of this big bowl. And as your hands come back, you're wiping the outside of the big bowl. This is a variation of a Hunyuan style Qigong silk reeling practice. Hunyuan is called primordial Qigong. You're stirring the bowl. And then just kind of let the hands come back to flat. And then when you're ready, then begin making the hands go in a figure 8 in front of you, like you're wiping the tabletop. You can still have that front foot, if you're mirroring it, your right foot forward. It's like you're wiping the tabletop. You might bring the feet to parallel. You're doing 2 turntables and a microphone. Or maybe just figure 8s in front of you. And begin to move the elbows back as you're pulling in. Focus on the back stroke, as it were. Eyes can either be opened or closed. And then as you're doing this, keep doing the figure 8, but move so that you're kind of in a bow stance. But now, if you're mirroring me, your left foot is forward. All right, so you're still kind of wiping the tabletop here. But begin to focus maybe a little bit more on your right arm. With the left arm, if you're mirroring me, go a little bit smaller. And then begin to have both arms kind of rubbing that smooth surface, making big, now counterclockwise circles, shifting the weight forward and back. So these are in some ways, I think, like silk rolling practices, but these are, I think, perhaps a little bit easier on the body than some of the ones that really work the legs. But whatever your experience, take care of your body here. We're just doing big circles here, and we're not going really slow. You want to slow it down. In fact, let's try slowing it down. Let's see what that does. Bring your attention to the pads of your fingers and to the palms of the hands. Just notice sensation there. Maybe just the sensation of movement. And here, if you want, you can keep your eyes and your gaze kind of locked right on center. Just kind of let the eyes kind of follow the hands, or just kind of just let the attention and the movement of the eyes and the head, just let it do what it wants. Just kind of focus on making these circles. Begin to stir and dipping your hands into the imaginary water. Begin to wipe the bowl. Think it's a big cauldron. Your hands come forward and go from, what is this, your right to your left. You're wiping the inside of the bowl furthest away. Now you're wiping the outside of the bowl closest to you. And then you can come back, just kind of rubbing the smooth surface. And then bringing your hands back to that figure eight, kind of pulling the hands in along the middle line. The hands swing out and forward, and they pull back, and the elbows pull back. You might be turning the whole body a little bit more now, like you're wiping the tabletop. This is a variation of a warm-up move we sometimes do when doing Taoist snake frolic or Taoist snake Qigong. You can just move like this whenever you want. I mean, I guess you can't do whenever you want. And this might be a little weird. You know, you're out on a job interview or a first date, or you find yourself directing traffic. I guess this could work, but maybe not the best of signals in terms of being clear to the other drivers. I mean, unless you want them just kind of wipe the tabletop with the cars. All right, now begin to circle the hands like so. You're rolling a ball back towards you. Your hands are rolling on the top and bottom of this ball, right? Like so, rolling the ball. And as you do it, you turn the hips with this if you like. So each hip or each side of the pelvis kind of follows forward and back the hand that's on its side, if you like that. You turn this ball, and then you can make the circles smaller. And here you may or may not keep the hips moving with it. And it doesn't, for our purposes, have to be perfect, right? So you see my hand come up top, then I turn it just to catch. On the bright side, it's an imaginary ball, so it doesn't have to fall. And then make it like a disc, and you kind of roll. It's like a vertical frisbee, except without the frisbee lip. I don't know, maybe it's a dinner plate, but you should be careful not to drop the dinner plate. Now, the hands go a little bit smaller, hands a few inches apart. And you begin turning the other way, like you're rolling the dinner plate forward. And if you like feeling stuff between the hands, like, oh, like something's there, like if you're if the chi is there and you're feeling it, or if it's kinesthetic imagination, you're kind of rolling the ball forward. You see your kinesthetic imagination is strong. Or if you're just like, I don't know, I'm just rolling my hands in circles like this, I don't feel anything. Guess what? You're doing just fine. So now turning the ball, bigger ball circles here. And then we're going to come back to the disc and roll the disc. Now, all right, now you don't have to walk toward your screen. I'm just going to come a little bit closer so you can see. Now just begin to kind of turn this horizontal. And it doesn't really matter what, just like come back a little bit, it's a little bit close. What direction the hands are going, but kind of have the hands going in the same direction with each other. It's like you're playing with a small ball of Play-Doh or a putty or something, or a golf ball, perhaps you're kind of rolling in. Keep turning your hands and flip them the other way. So now if you're mirroring me, let's have your, what is this? Your left hand will be on top. You're just kind of turning the ball. And then let the bottom hand become still, and you're just kind of circling the top hand a few inches above. So the center of each palm, there's an acupuncture point we call a Lao Gong point. And so you're keeping the bottom hand, if you're mirroring me, that's your right hand, still. You're doing small circles above, and you can bring the hands a little bit closer together. Maybe make the circle a bit faster. And then come up. Keep the bottom hand still, and it's like you're circling the Lao Gong point on the top hand in horizontal circles, kind of like weaving or circling around in space above the rear Lao Gong point. And maybe bring the hand up a little bit higher. Bottom hand still. And circle the other way. The top hand. Hands a little bit closer, and then at some point just begin circling both hands. Playing the ball, you're gonna flip them now. So now if you're mirroring me, what is this? Your right hand is on top, and you're just circling like you're playing with a little ball here. And keep the bottom hand still as you circle the top hand. Just kind of see what height the top hand needs to be, so that there might be some kind of experience as if you're playing with a ball or a ball of energy. Maybe a little bit like you're playing with magnets. And as they sort of move, sometimes it's like two of the same pole of refrigerator magnets or something light like that are pushing each other away. And as soon as they're pulling, it's imaginary, so you can kind of play with it as you want. You're going to have both hands circling a little bit. And then you're going to come back to circling like you're rolling back, and you have to adjust. It's fine, you're kind of circling and rolling, turning a chi ball, like rolling it back towards you. There's no particular pattern I'm doing here. I'm just kind of doing what feels right at each given moment. So as you play with this, if you're doing this on your own, you can just play. I mean, it looks silly. I would advise not at first, at least, doing this out in the crowd. Definitely don't video yourself doing this stuff. All right, now you're going to begin just kind of running the hands past each other. Imagine like there's like some space between them. Well, I guess there is space between them, but there's something in there. You kind of rolling the hands forward, rolling them back, and begin to turn the body with it. So it's like you're, I don't know what the metaphor is here, but you do this. All right, now bring your left hand on top. You're doing the same kind of thing. Your left hand's on top. You can turn the hips with it as you do a little bit. So as you pull your left hand back, that elbow leads the way, that hip goes back. And as you pull your lower right hand back, it pulls back. Right now, it's going to get really funky. Just keep the bottom hand where it is. And just kind of move the other hand below and above, above and below. Just sort of notice if there's something you can feel there. Sometimes this can feel pretty intense to me. Sometimes not so much. It doesn't matter. You just do it, and then come back to kind of making these movements again. We're going at a pretty fast clip here. You can slow it down too. Now, if you remember, you have the right hand on top. Come to this, begin to just move the right hand around the left. Go up the forearm underneath it, and go above the forearm, just kind of tracing along. Maybe it just feels like you're moving your right hand around the left. That works. Maybe kind of begin to feel, and then just when you're ready, just come back to circle. Feels like it wants to be a disc. Make it a disc. It wants to be a ball. Ball. And situate yourself so that your left leg is forward. And then when you're ready, come back to wiping the tabletop. Eyes can be opened or closed. The rhythm of the breath be the rhythm of the breath. And then begin to focus, if you're mirroring me, on the right hand. Make its circles bigger. Its circles bigger. And then bring the left hand into it. So you're now circling and shifting the hips, just horizontal circles, palms down. Let your left knee be forward. You're bringing the hands in over that left knee. And there's no form we're doing here. We're doing mix and match, but just trying to get the feel. Different kinds of ways of moving circles begin to stir. You can have a little bit more narrow a stance, be more upright. And then try with that really forward, just stir the other way. So you're stirring over, coming from behind and then out over that front foot. Up over that front foot. You begin to have the palms horizontal. Just notice what this is like. And the other foot forward. Keep the hands circling if you're looking down. If it's now your right foot forward, you're still circling clockwise now. Begin to stir the pot. Wider, lower stance if you like, just variation. And when you're ready, stir the other way. So you're coming forward over that front knee. So you're coming behind and rolling out over that front knee. So your hands now are going counterclockwise if your right knee is forward. And if it's going backwards, just go with it. Pretend like you meant to do it. And then wipe the tabletop. Make your feet, bring your feet. So they're somewhere between hip width and shoulder width apart. Doesn't have to be perfect here. And then bring the hands into these wave-like movements. And begin to coordinate with the breath. Following one of my teachers, Michael Wynn, we'll call this ocean breathing. And breathe in as the hands expand. Breathe out as they release. Breathe in as they expand. Breathe out, release. When you open or close, bring your attention to the Laogong points at the center of each palm. And the space between them as they move toward each other and away. No real deep squatting here, but you might see what it's like as you breathe in to press down into the feet, maybe straighten the legs a little bit without locking the knees. And as you breathe out, bend the knees a little bit with the hips and the pelvis sink just a little bit, just to get a sense of like these wave-like movements. Tongue is up to the roof of the mouth if you're breathing in and out comfortably through the nose. Follow the pace of your own breath. A few more rounds like this for you. Hands become a little bit more subtle. The amplitude of the waves of the movements just is less and less. Until you come to a point with the palms more or less facing each other. At whatever distance between them, the connection or the resonance between the hands feels strongest. The knees are not locked. There's no particular precision to the posture. Hands might be wider apart than mine are right now, and might be closer. If there isn't much to experience, or it just all seems about the same, or the mind is wandering, agitated, or whatever, just pick a space, a distance between the hands. Just hold it here for a moment. And whatever the experience of this practice has been like, just see if you can bring a little bit of kindness to yourself, a little bit of kindness to whatever the experience is, whatever it has been. It's all okay. As you close, you're going to be nice. We'll just close by bringing the hand up in a big set of circles, and you're going to lower down, palm down to the height of the navel. Kind of lower the chi down to the navel. Turn your Laogong points of the palms toward the navel. We'll do it 2 more times. Reaching up, lower the chi down. And then at the end, let's do this the Hunyuan style, where women place on this one the left hand against the body. Men place the right hand against the body, or whichever feels better. Put the hands over the navel, the Laogong point, the center of each palm is lined up one over the other. If you want to kind of follow the suggestion, then women would have the left or the yin hand touching the body here, cover with the right, and men would have the right or yang hand touching the body here, cover with the left, or whichever feels better. And just take a moment and pause. Just observe anything that seems to be arising inside your body right now. Notice anything that seems to be arising at the surface of your body. Notice anything seems like it's arising outside. Now, close it off. Go about your day and pretend nothing happened. Okay. Hey, thanks everybody.